Hi, welcome to the Lunapod, where we talk all things K-pop. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Raquel, and today we want to introduce a very special guest.
Hello, I'm Evelyn.
Now, Evelyn and I were childhood friends, and then we reconnected after realizing we both liked K-pop. This is the second time that you've come to visit us in Florida. Mm-hmm. The first time we went to Omega X concert together, and just recently, last night actually, we went and saw Only One Of in Orlando, and that is what this episode is going to be about today. So, let's talk about you a little bit. How did you get into K-pop?
It was kind of a variety of things. Like, I'd always knew what K-pop was, and then a little over 2 years ago I decided to start watching K-dramas, and I was watching a K-drama and there was a song in the background that I was convinced I knew, and I thought it was BTS. Turns out I still have no idea what it is, but it was driving me crazy trying to figure out what song it was, and so I'd listen to every single BTS song I could find, and it was a very slippery slope. As soon as I listened to all that, started liking them, and then I watched their content more, and then I found TXT and all these other groups, and then I have become the stan I am today.
After watching a ton of BTS videos, I don't know how you cannot stan them.
Exactly.
So understandable. Now, who would you say your top groups or your favorite idols are at the moment?
Easily 17. I would do anything for them. So my top groups are 17, TXT, ATEEZ, Omega X, and NCT Dream. And then my old biases are Jonghan from 17, Sunghwa from ATEEZ, Beomgyu, and Soobin from TXT. And those are basically my old. Oh, and Hyuk from Omega X. I can't leave out. Love that man.
Those are some solid biases right there. We get along well. Alrighty, so let's get into our concert review. Before this concert happened, I didn't know Only One Of super well. I knew their music and I really enjoyed their music, but I didn't know the members very well. But I learned their names. My knowledge about the members was limited. However, while we were getting ready for this concert, doing our normal little watching all of the set list and learning names and getting into them, I had this looming gut feeling that, I'm about to get really obsessed with this group.
I felt the same way. Because previously, similar to you, we're both new Lions. I didn't know a whole lot about them, and everyone knows the move from Libido. That was always stuck in my head, but I didn't actually realize it was them. I would always go back and be like, oh, who's that one K-pop group that does that? And I would remember it was them, and then forget until it came in my head again. But the fact that it's them, and they still have all these other bangers, obsessed.
So when we got to the concert, now this might have been a venue setup, it might have been a fan setup, I'm not quite sure, but they had kind of separated us into clumps where they were like VIPs around the corner at the front, and then T3 is here-ish, and T4 is there-ish. So we're like, okay, cool, we'll stand here-ish. And it was so hot. We had checked the weather and it was supposed to be pouring, and then it kind of changed last second and it was like, oh, it might rain. And then towards the end, it did start raining a tiny bit, and so we were very prepared with our little dollar ponchos from Walmart. Smart decision of us. And the time flew by. It was a really great experience, in my opinion.
I think it was the easiest one that we've waited in, honestly.
Yeah.
It really did not take that long.
No, and there was no drama. It was pretty straightforward. They just lined us up and moved us over, so.
Except for ghosts. There were ghosts. So Evelyn had, what was it called? Snapshot?
Yeah, my snapshot photos.
So we went around the corner for her to
get my
sign in, basically. Yeah,
basically
check in. And I went around the corner, shout out to Amanda, to pick up a Rie photo card so I could have a photo card of the group in my bag instead of Changbin. And by the time we got back around the building, a new line had formed of at least 20 people. No clue where they came from, because they were not there when we went around the building, and we were not there for long.
No.
It wasn't even 5 minutes.
No, I can tell you, I was saving our spot in line, and I did not notice a single new car pull up. So
I'm like, a busload of 20 people showed up, apparently.
I guess so, yeah.
They literally just had to scan my tickets for them, and I only had 3, and then they handed me my physical ticket for it, and then we walked back, and then all of a sudden there's
these people appeared.
Whole new line.
Oh, another fun thing, while we were waiting, we could hear them in the venue singing.
Yeah, because there was these backstage stairs and doors that we were standing right next to. You could totally hear them. So every time they would stop a song, we would start cheering. And at one point, they responded back and were like, thank you. So we started cheering louder. And then I think it was kind of hard to hear because it was through a door and they were inside and we were outside. But I think they said something along the lines of, love you and see you soon. That was at 3 p.m. So way before the concert.
Yeah.
There was also a ton of freebies this time around. People had so
Especially
many
banners.
Yeah.
This is like the first one I've had like multiple banners. Usually I only get one. Mm-hmm. I had like 4 or 5.
Yeah, there was pride flags. That was really fun. There was little paper cranes somebody had made. Mm-hmm. They had them on her hair. There was all sorts of things. All right, now before we get to the actual concert, I think it's very important for us to talk about who our biases were going into this concert. Mm-hmm. I was having trouble right from the beginning because I was feeling very OT anyway, but I decided I'm going to say it's Yoojung because I think he is very pretty. And so...
Yeah. Mine were Junji and Rie. The whole night before, we spent, I don't know how long, trying to figure out how to pronounce his name. And I've seen it several ways, but we've decided Rie. Anyway, love those two. Those were the two I went in with.
My biases going in were Yoojung and KB because when I got into Only One Of, it was because of their solo songs, and Be Free was on repeat, and so I just automatically liked them more.
It was funny because like yours is like quote unquote couple, mine's a quote unquote couple. So we were like, okay, Brickell, yours has to be Mill and Night. It literally has to be.
Yep, and I was like, sure, love that. I'm loving all of them, so I'll do it. Okay, now, starting the actual concert, once we got inside, I forgot 2 things that put me into an absolute state of shock when the concert started. First of all, I forgot what it was like being that close to idols. It's been a hot second since we have been that close to the stage. I think AT's was the last time we were that close.
Yeah, well, and we haven't been in that venue in a while, so I kind of forgot.
Exactly. And that's the other thing I forgot is how incredible that venue is. The ground is tilted, so you are like, you slowly go up on a slope the further you go back. We were probably 12 rows back from the stage, but they looked so close to us. I had mild panic when they first came out because I was like, wait a second, I can see them really well.
Every single stage that they had was absolutely incredible. And when I tell you I'm obsessed with these chest bumps.
Ooh, and Gaslight.
Yes, that's one of the best stages. Sorry. The amount of times I've been doing chest bumps since we left the concert, and the amount of times I have watched that one clip I took of Junji, ridiculous.
It is permanently a replay in the brain. Yeah.
It's always happening. Always chest bumping.
No, the stages in general were so stunning. The visuals they had in the background fit so well with all of the songs, and I think that added so much to the overall concert. Really impressed by that because it's like a smaller venue. I feel like it's harder to do big extravagant things, but they did really well.
Well, and they had like the big screen behind them, and I feel like a lot of groups that have gone there, they haven't really had.
They don't
like,
utilize it.
Yeah, if they have a screen, it's not really utilized as much. Like this one, they had like their music video go on in the background. They had little dance practice videos, visuals that complemented that stage. Like it just went really well,
and it made the concert feel very put together.
Yeah,
compared
I think so
to like
too.
other like small venue concerts, like even ones I've been to, like you said, they just utilized it better and made it feel more professional and
I think
put
so
together.
too.
Now, there were a lot of very cute and or funny moments that happened that we have to talk about. First of all, I feel like they were talking about food all the time. They must have been so hungry. They were asking about chicken. They were asking about where they ate recently.
Yeah, they wanted like recommendations. They gave us recommendations.
Yes. And the other thing that they were constantly bringing up is how hot it was. Which, granted, it was so hot in there. They were sweating. I felt so bad.
And something funny that they took, I don't even know how long, like probably 5 minutes, checking to see if fans were subscribed to their YouTube channel. Like, these boys were begging for subs. It was freaking hilarious. And then they had, after that, they immediately went into, somebody, I guess, saw their phone wallpaper, and they're like, what's your wallpaper? What's your wallpaper? So then everyone was shoving their phone out. I tried so hard. I had this cute Junji wallpaper. I was like shoving that crap in the air. Did not see it. Whatever, it's fine. But they took like the longest time talking about the silliest stuff, but it filled up a lot of the time. It was still fun.
Yeah, it did. And I remember at one point they were also asking fans to write a song on their phones and show it to them, and they were doing little blurbs of these songs. So the amount of times we were showing our phone screens to these boys was hilarious. But it was so engaging.
There's also that one part where KB went back to the sound booth part of the stage and got a microphone and brought it out to one of the girls in the front row and was like, how you doing? And she's like, good. And they had no idea what she said. They're like, what does that mean?
I don't think they heard the D in good, because he's like, what's that mean? And she's like, good. It's good. Like he's like, everyone say good. And so everyone was like yelling.
And now just some random thoughts that happened throughout the concert that I feel like are very noteworthy. First of all, I love the fandom name Lion. That's so cute. And also they have this little grr claw pose that they had us do for another one of the pictures at the end. Also, I just have to say they made that merch look good. Like,
It's very simple. And like,
yeah.
I would look dumb wearing it. They looked amazing. Like, I was going back and for my videos at the end of the concert, and I'm like, why are these t-shirts, plain t-shirts, fitting them so nicely? I'm sorry, but those were custom made.
No joke. They fit them perfectly.
And something I noticed during the show is that the members, they really worked very well together. And I feel like their connection with fans was a lot different than some other groups we've seen. I just feel like they really are like close and know their fans almost more on a personal level, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't know. I just felt like a strong chemistry between them and us as well.
Totally agreed. Because we've been to some concerts where you don't feel like best friends necessarily with them. And I felt like we were best friends on the stage. Like, they were so engaged with the audience.
And speaking on the members, we're going to go in deep dive into each and every member and kind of talk about our opinions of them during the show. And so first we'll have KB. Him and Side mentioned Mill constantly were saying that is so slay. This is so period. They definitely had a little lesson of slang before they came down here.
They were
cracking us up.
Yeah,
like the entire time. They're like, right before a song, they'd be like, let's slay. And like they would always do like the cutting motion across, doing that non-stop. And also, I don't know where this skit, how this skit even started. What were we even talking about?
I don't know. Something about chicken, and then suddenly he was wanting to go to the beach.
Yeah, and he was having this whole skit about him driving all of the lions down to the beach.
In a massive van.
I don't even know where that came from. He was adorable.
He was pretending to chew gum and was doing the wheel, and then being some hot guy pulled up his shirt, full chest reveal.
Too hot. I have to take off my shirt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think you have to, but like I won't say no.
Just turn the AC on.
Baby girl?
Baby girl?
KB is baby girl.
There was some fan that had this sign that said KB is baby girl, and he saw the sign at one point and was just looked at it and he's like, baby girl.
And like, I didn't even know they were talking about signs. All I heard was him saying baby girl. I'm like, what?
Where did that go from? But I really want to commend KB. I feel like he has such a great stage presence and confidence on stage. I feel like he was able to direct the crowd and our chanting really well.
He is very much a goofy guy, though.
He is very goofy. There was one time where he was just standing on stage completely motionless with the lesbian flag hanging over his head. Or one time when a lion threw this stuffed animal towards him and he was just squeezing the life out of it with his massive muscly arms.
I'm like, this is supposed to be a cute moment with this little teddy bear and you're like suffocating it with your amazing arm.
Next, moving on to Yoo-jung. That man is stunning.
I love him.
He's so pretty. I love the long hair.
Yeah,
it
the
works so
blonde
well
looks
for
so
him.
good. And he had it in a ponytail. I would have loved to see it down, but the ponytail worked really well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yoo-jung is such a good dancer. Like, they are all really good at doing these subtle moves and touches and like little details that really add to the overall performance, but he is so good at those. He feels like one that like just really knows his body and how it moves, and so I feel like that's more obvious when you're seeing him on stage like that. Yeah, agreed.
Especially for a group like Only One Of, where a lot of their songs and choreographies have sensual moves. You really need to know how to move your body, and he just does it really well.
Yeah, he's able to express that really well.
Yeah.
There was also this really cute part at the end when Yoo-jung and Rie were playing with bubbles. Nine had gotten this bubble wand and was spraying bubbles everywhere, and they were just standing and poking the bubbles, and that was adorable. Just want to throw that in there. This is all you.
Junji! Oh my gosh. I need to preface this with every concert I go to, I just say a random member's name over and over again for no reason. Just if I'm stressed or whatever, I'll just say the person's name. This concert, it was Junji. This man, stunning. His hair, I'm obsessed. I love long hair. The lavender and teal, it's so pretty.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
There was actually a fan not crazy ahead of us. Her hair was those colors. It was really pretty.
Oh, that's so cute.
I was like, if I could dye my hair, I'd be tempted. So yeah, he's hot.
And such a good performer.
He is. He has really strong stage presence. His dancing is incredible. Kind of noted that he is very intense. He has that look about him, intense eyes and everything. But there were such cute side moments I was like watching of him interacting with fans. Definitely one of those looks scary, is not at all.
Actually a softie.
Very much who he is.
Now, he also was one of the ones that they did a solo stage for. They did the Be Mine performance. There was the moment when he went to touch Rie's face and Rie instead hugged him, and he had, again, that cutest smile. You could tell was just not scary anymore in that moment.
We'll have to like upload some videos to like TikTok and
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely. Make sure you head over to our TikTok to see that. And there was also this, again, they were talking about food. When were they not talking about food? But he was talking about how he's a steak guy. And then, I can't remember who said it, but they were like, we went and got steak and Juji went and got McDonald's. And he's like, like the patty steak. We were laughing. It was hilarious.
And then moving on to Rie, he's so beautiful.
Yeah.
His visuals, he was one that I was really interested in while we were watching videos the other night. But in person,
absolutely stunning.
Wow.
Yeah.
His face, I was like complimenting every feature of his.
Yeah, no, agreed.
So beautiful. And he has, his hair is like more of like a brown, like brunette right now, but there's almost the tiniest hint of wine. And I'm telling you, wine hair on Idols is probably one of my favorites. It is so pretty. But yeah, he kept drawing me in so much. Like again, I was kind of nervous. Oh no, I'm between these two. And Junji's catching my attention so much, but there were plenty of times where I was like, you know what? No, Rie.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's my camera was kind of doing the same thing.
And he had amazing duality.
Yeah.
Like again, almost the opposite of Junji, where the looks-wise, not that intense. But then when he's performing, he completely changes.
Man, his facial expressions are so subtle but so powerful. They're so good. And he had incredible vocals. Next, let's talk about Mill. Now, this man introduced himself to us by doing a whole cartwheel on the stage.
Better than a half cartwheel.
I feel like you can't even look away from the stage for a second, especially with this boy involved, because I swear, I would turn my head and look back and he's doing something so random.
Yes, he had a lot of energy. It was so funny. Just very entertaining on stage in general. And there were so many times that he would be doing aegyo, and it was so random, like putting his little hands up his ears on his head. He also has the cutest smile. And there was one time when a fan gave him this crocheted frog hat, and he was just
so cute.
up on the stage doing little aegyo poses with this little frog hat on.
Before he realized it was a frog, he like put it on and started dancing to OMG. I was like, oh, that was
really
cute.
Now, Mill was the other member that did a solo song on stage. He did Beat, such a fun and high energy song.
One thing to note, obviously we know they have their solo songs within their couples, and originally when we were looking at the set list, neither Mill or Nines was on there. They had the Yujung and KB one on, so I'm like, why are we ignoring Mill and Nine? I just feel like it would have overall been better if they would have done one per like
at least
couple.
one per group. Yeah, because
but it was interesting that they did theirs instead.
Yeah, they were being sneaky and changing the set list on us.
I was very upset about it personally because I was waiting for Be Free, but it's okay. Beat was good.
It was good.
It's just very different from all the other solo songs too, because like all the solo songs were
Just
very
more like-
refreshing, not too intense, and then Beat was exactly as how the name says. It had a strong beat to it, which is very on brand for Mill since he's a rapper. So
Yeah, true.
Like maybe that was like kind of nice for them to do that one because like all the other ones are slow and like more romantic side. Like this one's like hard hitting. It was good.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't have been mad if they did every single one.
I know I would have.
me
That's
too.
what like I dreamt up was like this whole middle portion of the
Story.
concert of going through each couple's story. Like that would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
And like, a good time for them to have breaks, but they didn't. I was surprised they didn't break during that. I thought it was just gonna be the two of them each time. But they were all involved. It was really nice to see them all perform like within the solo songs.
Now, last but not least, we are going to talk about Nine. He really personally drew my attention a lot during the concert. He just has incredible stage presence. And honestly, this man's abs are no joke. I don't know how you could not look at them.
I was taking photos and the photo was blurry and people were moving, but his abs were there in my face. Like face not in focus, but abs were in focus.
Even this blurry photo, the abs are shining.
your camera knows the important part.
I feel like he looked a little different in person than I was imagining.
Agreed.
His visuals.
Oh.
Like, I'm a new lion, so, like, I don't know how everyone else is feeling. In my head, they're underrated, but that's also probably me underrating them.
No, I get
but
you.
now, obsessed.
Yeah, same. Again, like we've said this before, but I feel like there's always one member that looks a bit different than you'd expect them to. Not in a bad way at all, but I definitely feel like Nine was this member for me. But yeah, he is a very strong visual, so I hope he is getting that credit. So the concert was fantastic. Now let's talk about kind of post-concert and what happened afterwards. First of all, Brooke had the most viral quality photos I've ever seen in my life.
This is the first concert that we're like a smaller arena where I'm using my new phone. Last time I had my old one, so my Zoom quality wasn't good, but we were 11th or 12th row and the Zoom was perfect. I was right up in there.
Oh yeah, it looked like you were second row.
I know, like my mom, other friends were like, wow, you were really close. Not really, but my phone was.
Huge shout out to the iPhone 14 Max Pro. We also need to talk about how that was such a short set list. We were talking just a second ago about how I would have loved to see all of their solo songs. They easily could have added more songs because the set list itself was only 45 minutes long.
Yeah, like I always make a set list before the shows, and maybe one more song was added or something. But honestly, it was really only literally not even 50 with an additional song minute set list. And then last night you're like, it's 8 to 10. I'm like, how are they filling a whole hour with nothing? I mean, they filled up the time perfectly.
Oh, they did. I never felt bored or
100%. Like all their mints were like really good and interactive.
Yeah.
But it was like so interesting that I was just so confused by the amount of songs compared to other concerts we've been to. But like, it was perfect.
Yeah, it was a great concert. It was an hour and 45 minutes long total. I wish it was longer, but I also wish that for every concert. So, you know, overall, I absolutely love and am so impressed by how confident they are. They are just so unapologetic in everything that they do on stage. And I just feel like there's no other idol in the industry that I've personally experienced that is doing what they are doing. They're also just so incredibly funny. I just wasn't expecting them to be so personable and so hilarious. And they're so attractive. Like, good for them. Oh my gosh. And they have fantastic vocals, absolutely amazing stage presence, wonderful personalities. Only One Of is just incredibly easy to love. And now I consider myself a lion. So
yeah,
there's that. Also, I just want to, there were some people in front of us and they were so funny. They were having the best experience. And I just remember them kind of whispering and they're like, this is the best money I've ever spent. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. But you could just tell how much everyone was absolutely loving this concert and loving Only One Of, and it was just such a good environment.
It was a really good crowd, I think.
Yes, agreed. It was just a really good concert overall. I was just really impressed with this concert. We've been to quite a few at this point, and that one was definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, you know, you go to concerts and it's been a while and you'll kind of forget things. This is one that I'll remember almost everything from. And so after the concert ended, they kept people who had snapshots in the venue and everyone else could exit the building or go to the merch stand if they wanted to. And Evelyn had snapshot, so she stayed back. So do you want to talk a little bit about that experience?
Oh, do I? So, like we had mentioned earlier, I'd gone and got the physical snapshot tickets earlier while we were waiting in line. They literally just looked like concert tickets, but they had the members' faces on them for who you bought the snapshot experience for. When I went and bought them, there were only 3 left. So I had KB, Mill, and Rie, which I'm not even mad about. They were great. But then like there's 5 poses per member that you could choose from, and you had to have them picked out before you got up there to take your photo. And they were just trying to do it as fast as possible so they could get everybody out and get the members home and get on their way, basically.
I was always curious how that worked, if it was like a super fast in-out or if they let you have a little bit of talk time.
You have as much talk time as it takes to print out a Polaroid. Basically, it was some of the people who were taking the photos kind of let you have a second and then they'd kind of shoo you away, and then some were like, no, get out.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Some people almost walked away without their Polaroids though, so
oh, I would have stopped.
they were just so in the moment. But it was set up very well. I went to Mill first because he was on the very right, and I was like, I'll just start on the right and then work my way over because KB was on the other side. So I'd started at Mill, and before the members had come back out, they prefaced, don't ask them for hugs, don't make them uncomfortable, this whole spiel they do to make sure everybody's comfortable. And so I was expecting them to like not even be that close, like when you're doing the poses. But I started with Mill, and Mill, he was so funny because I finally got up there and he'd been doing the same pose with everybody. Like everybody had picked the same pose, but it wasn't the one I had picked. And so I'd gotten up there, and I'd like to point out, I was very thrown off immediately because he's like, hey baby, come stand here. And I was like, whoa.
I would have died on the spot.
I was like, wait a minute. And I didn't fully process it because I was like already in a state of shock. And I went and stood next to him, and then he put his arm around my shoulder. I was like, whoa, I thought we weren't supposed to touch each other. What are you doing? I'm not that mad. And then I did the pose where we were making an M with her fingers because I thought it was cute. And that one was a lot of fun. Super sweet. And then as soon as the picture was taken, I was blinded by the flash and just dazed basically. And he's like, thank you so much for coming. And I was like, well, thank you. And then he goes right back into his slay. Yeah, just keep slaying. I was like, yeah, you too, slay. I don't think I'd ever said slay before in my life until I was having a conversation with Mill.
Whoever taught them this slang, thank you.
Seriously. So after I was done with his photo, I went to Rie's. And Rie, since he wasn't one of my biases, I didn't think I was gonna be that starstruck or nervous really until I actually got up there and I went to do, like, he had one of the poses that I've done with other idols that I have Polaroids with. And so I was like, well, I have to choose that one. And so it's the one where you're putting your fingers underneath your chin. And I had put my hand maybe like an inch below his chin because I didn't want to touch his face because I don't know you. Yeah. And he grabbed my hand and put it up to his face. And I was like, I could squeeze your cheeks right now. This is weird. And then afterwards, I was literally so close to his face. I didn't realize how close I was standing to him. And I kind of blacked out for a second.
That's the most valid reaction.
I was like, you did great. If you ever come back to Orlando, you have to be on my friend's podcast. My friends love you. And he was just kind of nodding. I don't think he understood a single thing I was saying.
But thank you for that. You're a real one.
But he was so pretty. Don't get me wrong, he's pretty.
Right.
But within a foot away from him, he is...
Oh, I can imagine. With how starstruck I was being 12 rows back from the
Literally.
stage, I would have also blacked out. I totally understand.
And so, really, it was just a good time. After that, I went over to KB's line, and at this point, most people had already gotten their photos and dipped, because I wasn't in any rush. And so KB's line, there was like 2 people behind me, so I thought I was gonna be the last one, but unfortunately I wasn't. But with KB, I did the pose where we linked arms, and so I got up there, and he had this charm in his hair.
Cute.
Somebody had given him like a clip or something, and so we had linked arms, we took the picture or whatever, and I'd been waiting for this moment ever since they didn't play Be Free during the set list. If you don't know, Be Free was my second top streamed song on YouTube last year. I had that song on repeat for weeks. My family's probably sick of hearing it with how much I played it. I was impressed it was only the second most played song.
Die Hard Lion. Listen, it's so impressive to me. I want to be you. That will be me this year. Mark my words.
She's like the mother. We're her cobs.
I love that. Oh, how cute. Roar.
Roar.
Roar XD.
So I've been waiting for this moment because I thought that Be Free was just a part of the set list and was only a little disappointed when it wasn't. And so I'd gone, and while I had my quick moment to say something afterwards, I was like, I want you to know that Be Free was one of my top streamed songs last year. And that man didn't even hesitate to start singing the intro to that song. And I blacked out again. I was like, that can't be real. Like, he's singing to me right now. I feel like a lot of K-pop fans, whenever they go to concerts, they start singing your favorite song. They're singing this for me. He was quite literally singing it for me in that moment. I was like, I could cry. I was shaking afterwards. And I was baffled by
amazing
how they can just whip out their vocals like that at any given moment.
Talent.
Seriously. And so those were my experiences with the members that I had the pictures with. But since we had to wait in line, I was just kind of watching the other members. And first off, 9 was his aura that he was giving off. I was so intimidated by because he was just leaning against the barricade, acting like he was the hottest man on earth, which is accurate.
Very true.
I don't know how people could take pictures, like walk up to him to take a picture because I would be so intimidated.
Be nervous.
Yoojung there's one interaction where a fan, like one of the poses where they put their hands together and then lean forward, and so their faces were like they were looking at each other. And one of the fans started backing away from him and he got offended. He's like, don't back away from me, like come closer. I know if Yoojung had said that to me, I'd legit pass out. There's no coming back from that. And then Junji the entire time, because there's breaks between the photos where the last person had left and the next person hadn't quite walked up yet. Every chance he had, he was dancing.
So cute.
He was doing the wave, just doing all this stuff. Like, he just couldn't sit still. And it was just very adorable. But I did notice not only Mill, because Mill called me babe or baby or whatever when I walked up, every single one of them did it, and I didn't actually realize until I'd left. I think the only one that I didn't actually hear them say that was 9, but 9, every single person came up and he'd go, hey! Like the same tone of voice with every single person.
He has it like on loop and track.
He's rehearsed for that moment.
Yes.
So funny. But overall, the experience was great, and now I have those Polaroids to keep safe.
Yeah, that is such a fun experience. I'm so glad you did that. I kind of regret not doing that, but at the time, it just didn't work out. Yeah, they're expensive, and at the time, I didn't realize how into them I would be. But next time around, now I know. Now I know. So wrapping up our final thoughts, if I have not said this enough, I am now obsessed with ONLYONOF. I absolutely love them, and they're in my top favorite groups now.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they have potential to be way up there now compared
100%.
to other groups.
And I just have one question. Where and when are we getting an ONLYONOF lightstick?
I know, I wanted one so bad.
Me
Does
too.
not exist.
Please make this a thing.
I feel like they could have such a unique light stick.
Yeah.
Like if they had something similar to BI, that would be perfect for
that'd
them
be
and
so
their fandom.
cool.
Like they need something like that, I think.
Yes.
It's like the colors of the pride
Yeah.
flag.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I just want a light stick. I wanted to bop a light stick during this concert so badly. So please,
hopefully next
light
time
stick.
around they'll have one.
Now let's talk about some of our favorite stages that happened during this. One of my favorite stages was Sage. I really, really love that song, and I think the choreography is just really pretty. I also really love Chrome Hearts. I just am also obsessed with that song, and it was so much fun to see live.
Love some crop tops.
Oh. Yeah, huge shout out to that.
My favorite stage was Savannah. There's like one move they do in that choreography that every single time I do it, I feel like I need to do it, but I just know I won't ever be able to do it as well as Yoojung, so I have not done it.
A really fun, vibey one.
Yeah.
I love it.
The song is just very beautiful, and then the choreography just goes so well with it that you can't not love it.
And mine were Gaslight. I already talked about the chest bumps. I will not get over it. So that one was definitely one that I was excited about. And then, oh my gosh, we spent the longest time before recording this trying to figure out what this song was. Because one stage that I really loved, I'm like, what song is this? We couldn't figure it out.
Because again, they mixed up the set list on us.
I'm like, this was not on the set list. I'm like, what is this? It was a cover from Rosalia. It's Malamente. It was amazing.
Amazing.
I'm obsessed with it.
That was one of my top stages as well. Very, very good.
And then, so since we discussed our biases going into the concert, we will now discuss leaving the concert if they have changed.
I am OT6. So hardcore OT6, which I had a feeling that was going to happen anyway, but I will say though, 9 makes me a little nervous in the best way possible. But I will say OT6.
And then mine, I'm still walking out with Junji and Rie. I thought maybe during the concert, one would stand out more than the other, and I would maybe decide. Yeah, no, I'm not deciding. Both of them are staying with me.
And then for me, mine are KB, like I went in, but I am a sucker for a cute smile and curly hair, and MILF checked both those boxes. So MILF for the time being will also be a bias.
And before we head out for today, we are going to do our song of the moment.
It is Super by 17.
Woo! Now, if you haven't listened to this, go and check it out. It is so amazing. 17 released a whole album. All of it is absolutely incredible. Super was my favorite personally. That music video is fantastic.
Bangers.
It's so slay. It's so period.
Slay.
Super by 17 is slay.
Now we have a lot of fun content ahead, so as always, you can find us on any social media, including Twitter and TikTok at thelunapod for more K-pop fun. Make sure to head over to our Instagram at thelunapodcast, where we are most active to keep up to date with all of our behind-the-scenes content and updates on our episodes, etc. You can also find us on YouTube at thelunapod, or you can join us on Twitch at thelunapod for even more fun content. Thank you so much for listening. Bye!
Bye!